have a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind only because of the power of God. You see, there's this verse in Hebrews 10:35, and it says, taught me everything I know about confidence. It said, so then, do not forget the confident trust that you have in the Lord, for that will be richly rewarded. I think so many times we try to get this confidence in ourselves to feel ready, to feel set. And we think, okay, when I'm ready, when I'm set, when I have confidence in my ability to do this, then I'll go. It's not about having to be confident in who you are. It's about having confident trust in who He is. That verse right after that says, patient endurance is what you're going to need so that you'll be able to test and approve the will of God over your life. It's going to take patient endurance, and it's going to take confident trust to keep running when it feels like there's nothing else to run for, when it feels like nobody else believes in your run. But when you see God come and make things miraculous, everything's going to change. When that snake becomes a staff, everything changes. Everything changes. You know, so many people say, like, God was a God of miracles in the Bible, but He no longer is that God of miracles. I just don't really believe that. So, yeah, Moses got to see this miraculous side, but I haven't seen that. And I always try to share with people whenever they don't believe that God's a God of miracles. I say, when did dead to life lose its miraculous status? When did dead to life lose its miraculous status? Because I've seen myself go from dead in so many different areas in my life to absolutely fully alive in Him only by the power of God. That to me is miraculous. And I started to think about this. Maybe we are the walking evidence of the miraculous side of God. Maybe in today's time, God's using us to show the miracles. Just from dead to life, just from lost to found, just from insecure to confidence, just from anxiety to power over fear. All these things, this is a miraculous God that we serve. And He says, when I start running with you, everything changes, because the very thing that you're afraid of is the very thing that I'm going to use. I want to ask you something as a church, and I just need a simple response. Just say yes, or just agreement if you agree these things. How many of you believe that there's a God? Yes? Do y'all believe that God knows you by name? Yes? Do you believe that God has purpose for you? Do you believe that God sees you where you are? Yeah? That's awesome. I wanted to just acknowledge that because Moses believed all those things too at this point in the story. It wasn't a doubt thing. Moses believed there was a God. He acknowledged that God was there, that God was meeting him through this fire-burning bush that wasn't burning up. So he knew there's a God. Moses knew that God knew him by name because God came and said, Moses, Moses, and Moses responded with, here I am. Moses also knew that God had a purpose for his life. God literally laid out an entire purpose. Here's your purpose, wouldn't that be great, for your life. He knew that. Moses also knew God was a God of miracles. He saw a snake become a staff. Moses knew this. Moses knew all of these things. It wasn't a doubtful thing, but the very thing that was about to stop Moses from running the race that God had called him to run, guess what it is? No shock, insecurity. That's it. And I think so many times that's it for us. We come to church on Sunday and we're like, yes, Jesus, like we totally believe that there's a God. I totally know that you've called me by name. I totally know that you have plans for me, plans to prosper me, not to harm me, plans for hope and a future. I know that God, oh God, I even know that you're the God of miracles. God, I know you have a purpose for me. I know all these things. But then we walk out of these doors and we're faced with just who we are, and we get so insecure and so nervous, and we think, okay, can't wait for next Sunday. But that time when you walk out the doors is the moment that you go. But it's that insecurity that we face. And Moses, I mean, it's almost comical because it sounds so much like myself sometimes. He says, oh, Lord, I've never been eloquent, neither in past nor since. You have spoken to your servant. See, I'm slow of speech and tongue. It was almost like Moses is like trying to remind God of who he was. And God is like, are you kidding?